This section, we're going to talk about how to find the determinant of a matrix. So the determinant of a matrix. A determinant is a real number associated with a square matrix. You might use a determinant if you were finding the area of an oblique triangle or if you were finding the inverse of a matrix. I don't know that we're going to go that far, but I definitely want to cover this because I've seen it as an ACT question before. So since it says that it's associated with a square matrix is one just like it sounds. It makes a square. So like this one. This would be a square matrix because it's 2 rows by 2 columns. Another square matrix would be a 3 by 3. So when the rows and columns are the same, you can find the determinant. We're basically just going to find the determinant of a 2 by 2 and a 3 by 3. We could do more. It's just it gets to be a lot of work the more rows and columns that you add. So anytime that I've seen this on the ACT, they actually give you the definition of a determinant. They tell you how to find a determinant. And typically, when you're just defining a matrix, you just write the letters in order like this. And so each one of those letters would represent an element. A is row 1, column 1, B, row 1, column 2, and so on. So to find the determinant of a matrix, you're going to take A times D and subtract B times C. That means you're going to multiply these two numbers together and subtract the other two numbers multiplied together. So let's do this with some numbers. So if I have the matrix -1, 4, -5, 4, and I want to find the determinant of this. So the determinant would be multiply these two numbers together. So -1 times 4, and subtract these two numbers multiplied together. So in this case, -1 times 4 is -4. Subtract -20, so it'd be -4 plus 20, which is 24. And then we would use that number to find other stuff. Okay, let's do one more. In fact, on this one, why don't you pause the video and see if you can find the answer, and then unpause it and see if you're right. So hopefully you've tried this. We're going to multiply these two together and subtract these two multiplied together. So -2 subtract -2. -2 becomes plus +2, which is 0. So the determinant of that 2 by 2 is 0. Let's think about a 3 by 3. This gets a little bit more involved. So let's think about the way a 3 by 3 would be labeled. So if you notice on this one, you really can't do what you did with the 2 by 2. You can't take these and subtract these, because you haven't included all of the elements. So what we're going to have to do is add a couple more columns so that all the elements get represented. So I'm going to repeat the first 2 columns over to the side. So all I've done is simply copied these 2 columns here. Now, whenever I multiply, I can represent all the columns. So I'm going to start with the diagonal, A times E times I, and then I'm going to add the next column, BFG, and add the next, rather diagonal, CDB. And then I'm going to subtract the other direction. So B times D times I, AFH, and CEG. So now every single letter has been used. So I would find the answer to this part and the answer to this part and subtract the two numbers. So let me show you one that you will do when you actually use some numbers. So let's actually put some numbers in here and try one of these. So let's do a 3 by 3. And see if we can find the determinant. So in order to define the determinant of a 3 by 3, we're going to have to extend the rows. Oops, that was a positive 2. And then I'm going to multiply the diagonals. So I know I'm going to multiply these, and these. So 2 times 0 times 4 plus -1 times 1 times 1 plus 3 times -2 times 2. And now I'm going to subtract, multiplying the other direction. So -1, -2, and 4 plus 2 times 1 times 2 plus 3 times 0 times 1. So I've got to find the answer to this part and the answer to this part and subtract the two numbers because it's the difference of those two. So here I get 0 minus 1 minus 12. And over here I have 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 4, plus 0. So this is -13. Subtract 12, which is -25. So -25 would be the determinant of that 3 by 3. Let's do one more. Why don't you try this one? And then unpause the video. Whoops, start again here. Let's get this down. 540, -921, 411. So see if you can find the determinant. And then unpause the video and you can check your answer. So I'm going to extend the columns. And then do some multiplying. So 5 times 2 is 10, times 1 is 10. -9 times 0 is 0. 4 times 4 is 8, times 1 is 8. And then I'm going to subtract the answer to the other set. -9 times 4 times 1 is -36. 5 times 1 times 1 is 5. And 4 times 2 times 0 is 0. So I have 18. Subtract -36 plus 5 is -31. So this really is 18 plus 31, which is 49.